started to read through the chronicles of Persia. All the records of Persia. He sat there reading. Then he came across a man that saved the king's life. And he asked, well, what was done for this man? I just want you to understand that they have records of everything. So it is today. Don't think you have people sitting in power who are dumb and don't know. And I'm going to show you they do know. Iran's greatest president. I don't give a damn. You know his name. I don't give a damn. That dude right there. I'm going to show you that dude, that devil right there. He's a smart one. He was over Iran from 2005 to 2013. He did a UN speech. He spoke at the UN. He spoke about slavery. The injustice America did to the slaves. He brought that out. I need the video. Give me the video, Abiel. When he gave the speech, the European Union got mad and walked the hell out. They said, this mother,
They walked out again.
They ain't know what he was going to say. What I want y'all to see is they know the history. But they will only go but so far. They will never tell us who we are. Because by telling us who we are, man, it disrupts everything. It even disrupts their plans of power. Okay, here goes. Now listen good to what he says.
Who abducted forcefully tens of millions of people from their homes in Africa and other regions of the world during the dark
Pause.
of slavery.
He said Africa and other regions of the world. Letting you know he's not a dumb man. Because you ask the public, every dumb mother and their father says, they all came from Africa. He says, no, they came from other regions of the world too. Letting you know he knows the history. Because the first group came from where, brothers? Spain.
Making them a victim of their materialistic greed in the United States and in Europe, who used atomic bomb against defenseless people and stockpiled thousands of warheads in their arsenals, whose economies rely on waging wars and selling arms, who provoked and encouraged Saddam Hussein to invade and impose an 8-year war on Iran, and who assisted and equipped him to deploy chemical weapons against our cities and our people, who used the mysterious September 11th incident as a pretext to attack Afghanistan and Iraq, killing, injuring, and displacing millions in 2 countries with the ultimate goal of bringing into its domination the Middle East and its oil resources. If some European countries still use the Holocaust after 6 decades as the excuse to pay fine or ransom to the Zionists, should it not be an obligation upon the slave masters or colonial powers to pay reparations to the affected nations?
They turned the sound down. Is that what happened? He was getting too heavy. He said that he was speaking about all of the atrocities around the world, but when it comes to paying us, that's where the problem comes in at. That's what he was speaking about. That's when he turned to his constituents, the Edomites in the wild. They said, listen, time to get the hell out of here.
Exactly. And they start getting up and leaving.
They start getting up and leaving.
Go ahead.
Instead of assigning a fact-finding team, they killed the main perpetrator and threw his body into the sea. Would it not have been reasonable to bring to justice and try openly the main perpetrator of the incident in order to identify the elements and reason behind the safe space provided for the invading aircraft to attack the twin World Trade Towers?
Y'all missed that one too. He's talking about Saddam Hussein. He says, why didn't they try him publicly and let him speak publicly for himself to identify the elements of what caused all that turmoil? They said they killed him and threw his body into the sea because Saddam Hussein would talk and say, America be up to this, that, and the other. They said, we don't want that.
The same thing they
This
did
is
with
what he's
Noriega.
bringing out.
The same thing they did with Noriega. The same thing. They won't let none of those guys speak. These so-called rogue leaders around the world, they don't let them speak, give them an open trial. They don't want to do that. Bin Laden, none of them.
Exactly. Now, go to the next one. It's from a different angle. I want y'all to see what happens. This is the same speech, but a different angle.
European Union delegates to the UN Racism Conference began walking out on Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad after he denounced Israel and its creation following World War II.
They sent migrants from Europe, the United States, and from other parts of the world in order to establish a totally racist government in the occupied Palestine.
The United States, Israel, and several other allies had boycotted the racism conference even before it began. U.S. officials said they took the action for fear it would become a forum for anti-Semitism. At a news conference later Monday, Mr. Ahmadinejad taunted Washington for this decision.
This is arrogance, selfishness, and this is the root cause of many of the problems existing in the world community.
At the State Department, spokesman Robert Wood dismissed Mr. Ahmadinejad's remarks about Israel.
This type of rhetoric is unhelpful, it's counterproductive, and as I said, it just feeds racial hatred.
UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon opened the conference by warning that a new form of xenophobia is on the rise. He voiced regret over the boycott by the United States and others.
Some nations who by rights should be helping to forge a path to a better future are not here. Outside these halls, interest groups or many political and ideological stripes shout against one another in acrimony.
Other countries boycotting the conference include Italy, Canada, Germany, Australia, and the Netherlands. Leta Hongfincher, VOA News.
Swat their Pete.
There you go. So now they try to make it like, oh, he was against Amalek, so-called Jews. But no, he was comparing the way America deals with Amalek and how they deal with the blacks who went into slavery. That's what the whole speech was about. He said, you give reparations to this group who suffered for 5 years, but the black group who suffered 400, you don't do nothing for them.
Still suffering.
Man, that dude was tearing on. They said, oh, let's get out of here. He might blow the bag on us and bring out the dead Israelites. That's what was next. But he didn't go that far because he knew once he say that, then you got to get all them Palestinians out. They all going under captivity under us, all of them. So I don't feel bad if I don't give a damn either. So now, the next one is, y'all heard of this guy, Gamal Abdel Nasser. He was the second president of Egypt. In 1967, he waged a 6-day war, which he lost. But, y'all will have to Google this because it's hard to find. He gave a speech in Arabic, and he asked the question. It's on, you could Google it. But they spell his name differently some places. He said, how could the Jews leave Israel black and come back white? Then he waged war and he lost. America made sure that devil didn't rise up no more. He said, kill him. So he would let the cat out the bag. They said, they didn't kill him right then, but he died later on. But they made sure they shut him down. So now let's go back to Revelation 18. Let me get back to my point. And we were at verse 3. What I wanted y'all to see out of that is that the nations were confederate against us. That they took an oath and an agreement to be in union with Esau against us. Revelation 18 and 3 again.
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
That's what we are reading in Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Listen good to what I'm saying. That's what we read in Psalms 83. All nations were in cahoots with Edom. Everybody with me so far? Go ahead.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Go ahead.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
So now, come verse 4